And hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Narrator Ramirez podcast. Today I have another special guest. His name is, I feel like I always butcher your name. Renato?
Yeah,
Renato?
Renato. Yeah, you got it.
Renato. Okay, I love that. I love the Spanish way that you're pronouncing it. Renato. Okay. So another special guest, and he's from UndenEYEable. He has his own podcast. He's a husband, father of two, founder of UndenEYEable and the Undeniable Perception podcast. He's also a health enthusiast and bodybuilder. And I'm so excited you're here because we did a live on Instagram when we were both doing online videos or live videos, and I had my tea time. And this was like 3 years ago. So it's crazy how time flies so quickly.
Yeah, that is so wild that was 3 years ago. And I'm thinking back, I'm like, wow, that's before my daughter was born and my son was barely 2 years old. So a
Yeah.
lot of things have changed and have happened since then, right?
Yes. And yes, they have. So thank you for being on here again.
Thank you, thank you. Happy to be here. Thank you for bringing me back. I'm
Of
excited for the
course. And it
conversation.
won't be the last one.
Yes, I
Yeah.
feel
Well,
that.
to start off, like, what is undeniable? Because I know I've been following you for a while and it's all over your social media. Like, it's the name of your podcast, it's on YouTube. And when you do videos, you even say, hey, undeniable clan. Like, there's that,
Yeah,
and like welcoming to people who follow you. So, what is it?
yeah. So what it is it's a mindset. It's a mindset. So I feel like all of us, right? We're all born alone, we all die alone. But in the middle of it, we need to discover our truth. So that
Mm,
being said, undeniable means I'm opening up my eye for
okay.
what's my real inclination. What do I
Mm,
want to accomplish in life, right? Because in a nutshell, in a sense, right, it's also the serum to your superpower because a lot of us we're all controlled just by the perception of ourselves, how we speak to ourselves internally, how we think internally, what our perception might be, and that's going to pretty much dictate the type of environment we have, right? So it's
yeah.
undeniable. I just want to rekindle that flame people have within themselves of
Mm,
bringing out the best of themselves. So it's just a thought that I created that with it, I want to create like a business with it. I come out with clothing once in a while with it, and I preach stoicism behind it
okay.
because stoicism definitely helped me, discover my truth, my purpose, and I want to help others do the same thing.
For people who don't know what stoicism is, like, what is it?
So stoicism pretty much is just
Stoicism.
philosophy, right? Like you have Plato, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca. So people back in the day and back in the Greek era, right, where you didn't have TV, you just had a lot of thinkers. And
Yeah.
with that, with philosophy, right, it helps people. It's kind of like a manuscript to help people find that accountability you know, versus like blaming their circumstances, blaming their environment. They take
Yeah.
ownership with it. And
They
like
can.
with yeah, and like with COVID happening, like that drove me to stoicism because I was isolated in my little condo. And then it opened up my eyes to stoicism. And that's where I came up with the
Mm,
quote. Because I say philosophy free, be undeniable, right? So I
yeah.
got the word feel awesome free from philosophy. So
Okay.
philosophy made me feel awesome free because it means
Oh, that is so
eh,
awesome. It gave you like freedom. Yeah, freedom.
yes, it gave me
Yeah.
freedom. So that helped spark the whole thought process behind it and mission statement behind it.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing because it also happened during a period that felt really dark in the world, right?
Yeah,
Like a
yeah,
lot of people went through these transformations or these growths, or they found like this light or this authentic fire inside them.
yeah, absolutely. Because it's either you either elevated up in that environment or you elevated
Yeah.
down, right? So it
Yeah.
was it was no in between from what I've seen, So tried my
Okay.
best to keep my sanity with it.
Yeah. Well, if I can ask you to, and like you don't have to share when before you were in this space or before you found the philosophy, stoicism, undeniable, it's like, where were you mentally or emotionally or physically? Like, what were you struggling with?
I was just all over the place. I
Yeah.
wasn't as disciplined. I wasn't as loving, communicating with people that are dear to me. I didn't have a direction, but with it, it helped me find structure. It helped me
Okay.
make sure that, there's other people counting on me, that I need to make sure that every decision I make has to be the right one. Because if I make the wrong choice, little Ezekiel, little Sage, or anyone in
Mm.
my family might be impacted from it. So
Okay.
that helped me put the pieces together
Oh,
prior
that's
to
so
that.
inspiring.
Yeah,
That is so inspiring. Which I was gonna say too, because everything on your social media, like when you pop up, like discipline, like always pops up. Like you are like the definition of discipline.
thank you. I
You
appreciate
know,
hearing
and
that.
even like I don't want to say motivation because I feel that sometimes motivation when we don't have it, we don't go out and do that thing that we want to do, or it leads us to maybe another path where it's more like down, I guess, or
Mhm.
less energy, less optimistic, all that stuff. And I think Mel Robbins had mentioned that motivation is shit. Like, you
Yeah,
can't count on motivation to get you up in the morning. So, whatever that other thing is, you're also the definition of, if that makes sense.
you're awesome. Thank
That
you.
energy, like, that's you too, because I see your content and I was listening to one of your most recent podcasts, and I think I don't know if he's your biological brother, but I know you call him brother, right? He had
Yeah,
mentioned
that's
that
my
you have
bro.
so much going on. It's like you're a father, like you're a husband, you go to the gym consistently, you have a job, and it's like, yeah, like how do you do all of it? Like, how do you stay disciplined? How do you keep going when motivation's not even present?
Yeah, and you just said it right there. The word discipline, right? With what Robbins was talking about, right? How motivation is just like a spur of the moment thing. It's just like an
Yeah.
intrusive thought, right? And it goes away. It's kind of like if you're chasing motivation, it's kind of like chasing happiness. It's not gonna happen. You just need
Yeah.
to work in, hone in on your skills, and that's what's gonna help you drive forward, right? So you said it yourself, the word discipline. So
Okay.
what one thing that's always helped me is to do all that is just taking a strength that I had in one part of my life and applying it to other outlets of my life. So
Mm.
for example,
Okay.
one thing that I've been really good at is just always going to the gym. That's something
Okay.
that I'm really disciplined with, right? So from that, it helped me create that strength to be able to
Okay.
apply to other aspects of my life, such as like my
Mm.
diet, my sleep. So I would say those are the three important pillars right there to help create discipline and to help progress, right? So what you put in your body, what are you fueling
Yeah.
it with, right?
Yeah.
Um, exercising, right? Because if you think about it, back in the day, our ancestors, they were like, running away from dinosaurs,
Yeah.
in caves, things like that,
Yeah.
right? So that's why if we don't work out, we don't burn our energy,
Yeah.
our brain is going to be doing this all day, right?
Mhm.
So I would say that's the second pillar. And the third one is sleep, getting your sleep.
Okay.
So I would say those three things have definitely helped me, hone in and stay as disciplined as possible. Because
Okay.
if you're lacking one of those, you're not eating the proper food. I feel that
Yeah.
you're not gonna be vibrating properly. You're gonna be in a different consciousness. You're gonna be
Yeah.
seeing things the way they aren't. So
Yeah. And that's so true, right? Because in some ways we have this vibrational frequency. So it's
mhm,
if we are eating unhealthy and we aren't moving our bodies and we aren't getting enough sleep, like we're in lower vibration.
mhm,
And you can even feel it too. It's like even that could be such an experiment for people to try where it's like, yeah, like be aware of what you're eating and how it's making you feel, and then see if you can
mhm.
add more veggies, move more, and see how you could feel your vibration raising and how it makes you feel so much better.
Very true. Very true.
That's so
And
true.
um, yeah, and I try to pride myself on that, especially, being a father. I need to make
Yeah.
sure that I show my kids like, look, it's not just mom that cooks food. Son,
Oh,
you need to
that's
do your
awesome.
own food. You need to do your own food as well, right? And
Yeah,
and then just making the alternative choices, right? Because there's so much bad food out there, right? You
there is.
have farm raised fish, you have wild caught fish, and then there's people out there that don't even know the difference, right?
Yeah.
How farm
Oh,
raised
yeah.
fish have all these pesticides, they have no nutritional value, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do, educate people pertaining to that, and just sharing and reiterating what I've been learning throughout my journey, you know.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
it comes with its negative as well, where some people might get offended. Hey, why are you talking like that? But hey, I'm all here for it. You know, if you don't like the way I am, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, we're just not for them. But then even, some of that stuff that you're sharing too, I see it as just universal truth. Like it's cause and effect,
Yeah,
right?
I like that.
It's there's no other way around it. If you eat 1,000 burgers every day, you're not going to feel the best. And some
Very
people
true.
might get offended, and I sometimes like the way that I think about it when people get offended, it's like what is triggering in you because that's on you in some ways, right?
Hmm.
Is it because you don't want to change? Is it because there's like a truth there and you don't want to see it? Is it like challenging your beliefs? Like all these things, and it's okay. Like that's on you. I'm here if you want to talk about it.
And that's like a paradox, right? Like challenging people's beliefs, and then, well, not challenging people's beliefs, but people feel that you're challenging them, right? So how do we
Yeah,
get through that? What do we do, right, in
yeah,
order to just get closer to helping them break out?
yeah. What do you think that is? What do you think the answer to that is? That's a really good
Ooh,
question.
I would
That's a
say
really good question.
just continually with action. You know,
Yeah,
let your results speak for themselves. You know,
yeah.
that's the best. That's what I try to do. You know, like I consider myself the black sheep of my family, you know, because I
Okay.
was the first one to cut out a lot of certain foods, you know. So
I can imagine. Yeah.
Thanksgiving ain't really Thanksgiving over here, you know, sometimes. So
Where's the turkey? No turkey.
not for me and wifey and the kids, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
so
yeah,
those are like the little challenging things, right? That I kind of like
yeah.
push my family with, you know, to try
Okay.
to help them grow and all that.
Yeah, and it is challenging, right? Because I think a lot of even with our parents, you're Hispanic, right? I think I had asked you
Yeah.
before.
Hmm.
Yeah, where it's like the Hispanic culture, I mean, even just any culture, they're so stuck in their ways or they're just in their ways of truth. And
Hmm.
that's where they wanna be, and they don't wanna be challenged, they don't like it. If it's something opposing to what they eat or how they believe, it's like you're in the wrong. And at some point, like, from my own experience with my family, it's become where it's okay, that's what you think of me, like, that's okay, I'm still gonna live my life. It shouldn't be or it doesn't have to be opposing magnets all the time,
I like how
right?
you put that. Yeah, opposing
Yeah,
magnets at all times. Let
yeah,
bygones be bygones, right? We can live in the same household. Let's just respect
yeah.
each other, right?
Yeah, because even that of what you were saying earlier too, some people think that we're trying to challenge them, and it's like, no, we're not. Like we're just living like our truth our way, and I'm just sharing because I love to share.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. I'm just sharing because I like to share. But then they're gonna be like, I don't want to see this. But hey man, we're friends. I'm just expressing
Yeah.
myself. It's a way to vent. It's a way to vent. Take it how you
Yeah,
want
yeah.
it.
That's awesome. And sometimes I don't know if your family has come around, but I know for me, I cut out meat a long time ago.
Oh wow,
And
nice.
I mean, not anymore now, right? But I was vegan for a couple of years, and then even during COVID, and then little by little, like I had an In-N-Out burger, and I don't have it
Mhm.
often. And now it's like I eat a little chicken and shrimp, and I'm still very mindful with like what I put into my body. And it went from my family, my parents thinking that I was sick because I lost a lot of weight to you need to go to the
Wow.
doctors, like you're crazy, like what are you doing? To my mom cutting out meat because I would like try to educate her on, hey mom, you have arthritis, like this is what I've read, the red meat, like take it or leave it, but I just want to let you know. And she's to the point now where she's very conscious on like the red meat, like what she puts into her body, like moving her body. And it's like, that's awesome. Like I'm not trying to change. I never try to change them and how they ate, but it's so cool that at some point it's like they're listening and they're taking it in and they come around even if it's years later.
That's so beautiful to hear. That's a great story because that's proofs in the pudding. It's the results, right? They see
Yeah.
your demeanor, they see your consciousness, how you're
Yeah.
moving. They're like, you know what? She's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And I like what you said, what you told your mom, you know, arthritis, inflammation. That's
Yeah.
all from the oils, from the meat, the linoleic acid that's in your system. That's all wear and
Yeah.
tear, you know, and I like the way you say that because we're taking the ownership back. We're making the
Yeah.
choices, right, to be healthy versus I gotta go to the doctor. I gotta be on
Yeah.
these pills. Nah, no more
I
of
don't
that.
wanna live that way.
Let's keep
Yeah.
it healthy. Yes. So I
Yeah, and
love
we're
that.
still
That's
young, right? So it's a lot of I'm
mhm.
pretty sure you think the same way too, where especially because you have kids, it's where do you wanna be in the next 30 years, 40 years?
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
lot of those things, like, we have to implement now.
Yeah, and I remember, like I reflect a lot. I reflect a lot. I think a lot, and I remember, growing up, my dad was always my superhero. I was always like, this
Mhm.
guy's indestructible, And then the older my dad got, pre-diabetic,
Mm.
arthritis, and I would see him slow down. And I remember that would bruise me as a child. I'd be like, dude,
Yeah.
my Superman has a torn cape right now.
Mhm.
So that's something that I don't want my kids to go through
Yeah.
or a thought. So I want to be running with my kids. I want to be doing marathons at 100 years old, So
That's awesome.
I want to see
That's so
as far
awesome.
as I could push it.
Yeah, that is so awesome. So, so awesome. Super inspiring. Yeah.
Thank you.
So one of the things that I also wanted to ask you, because we were talking on Undeniable and it was cool. I didn't know that story of like before and after and like how it happened during COVID. So even with that, it's like how has that changed you and how you show up, even as a father? Because I know being a father and a husband is very close to your heart, and it's something that you dedicate your time and your love and your effort, and that's where your intention is like every day. I know you like I talked to Mercy earlier and I see photos of you guys and you guys are such the inspirational
Oh,
parents.
thank you.
It's like I
Thank you.
really do look up to you, both of you guys.
It,
Yeah.
it's it's Mercy a majority of the time because she does an amazing job with the kids. She
Mm,
like seeing my wifey, like everything she does, like being very selfless, waking up every
yeah.
time my daughter needs something, like she's always there. And like anyone could be a parent, but not everyone could be a good parent.
Oh,
Being a
yeah.
good parent is very difficult.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have our struggles. We recently, we don't really like have babysitters, so we're always with our kids. So we recently had a
Mhm.
date the other day and it was great. It was very needed.
Aw.
But yeah, Mercy does, she's the best mom. She's the best mom.
She
So I
is.
appreciate
She
you bringing her
really, really is.
up.
I was texting her earlier and she sent me some photos and I'm like, "What like, you're seriously an inspirational mom, like, such a good mom." Because
Yeah,
it's
she's
true,
very good.
right? And I work with a lot of kids and the youth in the system, and I don't know, it's so crazy, like, as I get older, it gives me such a different perspective on motherhood and fatherhood and how it's like, yeah, like, anybody can give birth, but to be a very intentful, loving, and present parent does take a lot of work. It's like you guys have your own personal struggles every day, and just to be selflessness or to be present for your kiddos, it takes work.
It takes a lot of work and a lot of observations, a lot of experience, right? Expertise.
Yeah,
Our experience is our expertise, right? So it's like remembering your own childhood, right? And what you wanted as a child. So like one thing that I always noticed, right, growing up in a Mexican household, right, we're very anxious people. Like we watch
yeah.
las noticias, so it's always got us on edge. We watch novelas, it's got us on edge.
Like always inside.
All of that, right? So like I remember like as a child when my niece was born, she was probably like 2 years old, 3 years old. And I remember
Um,
she would like climb on the couch and like my parents would be like, hey, be careful, be careful. So like the
yeah,
grandparents, the parents are someone you look up to as a child, right? So when
yeah,
you're climbing something, right, you're doing something out of your comfort zone, you're gonna remember that voice, like, hey, be careful.
yeah.
Then you're gonna become hesitant, right? So I remember observing this, right? So then I told myself, I was like, when I'm a parent, let
Mm,
my kids do their thing, and I'm gonna be very calm, very patient with how I speak to them because one
mm,
thing I don't want to give them is to give them that voice of negativity. If anything, I want to give them that positive, reaffirming voice.
okay.
Hey,
That's
anything you do, you could accomplish. So like when they have any doubt or whenever they're thinking deeply, they're gonna
yeah,
remember that voice.
yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to program
That's
program them.
so awesome. Yeah. How would you have handled that? Like if Sage or your one of your little ones was like on the couch, what would you do? How would you handle that?
I would just let them do it, but I would just
Yeah.
literally be right there. And if they're gonna fall, I'll just try to catch them. And I'd
Catch
be like,
them.
"Are you okay?"
Yeah.
That's it. Because when a kid falls, I've noticed this. So whenever a kid falls, they look around like, oh, and then if they see the parent react like, oh, then the kid's gonna go, "Wah," just cry. Versus
Mhm.
like, "Hey, are you okay?" Then they're gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm okay." So it's different.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that, like you said, cause and effect.
Yeah. Yeah, and what you said too, it's like it stays with them even subconsciously as they get older, right? It's like you're very reflective. Like I know you do your own reflections and stuff pops up and you and Mercy are really good at that, I'm sure. So it's like I'm sure even as adults we can link back some of our negative thoughts to our own parents. And it's okay, here's the work, so it's really
Hmm.
good that you're aware of that and doing that with your kids.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yes. Oh my God. Okay. So I wanted to ask you, like, I know we were going to talk about like fatherhood. Like, I have a lot of questions for you,
Oh no, I love it. I love it.
which I think I've already asked because it just keeps going. But yeah, okay. So fatherhood, right? I saw a video and on your Instagram, and it's really sweet. And I wanted to ask you, like, what has fatherhood meant for you? But the video that I saw was with you and your babies, and you were laying, I think it was like in front of the garage, and just Ezekiel, right? That's
Hmm.
your little one. He ended up laying with you, and then Sage ended up laying with you too. And it was just so sweet, like in the moment, and you're in the front yard, and but the quote said, "Without my children, my house would be clean, my wallet would be full, and my heart would be empty." That is so sweet. So
It's
sweet.
the realest thing. It's because it's funny because we think about it. It's like sometimes like Mercy and I get so overwhelmed where we're like, man, we gotta be cleaning all day after our kids. Or sometimes where I want to teach my son like how to like put stuff on a blender and how to do the blender, right? He's gonna
Yeah,
make a mess. He's gonna make a mess
yeah,
everywhere, right?
yeah,
But what is he getting out of that, right? I'm teaching him how to do things, right? So
yeah,
just remembering the little moments, like not the cleanup mess, but
yeah,
who made the mess, right? We made the mess together. This is a little core memory we're creating. So just trying to remember those little things, or like
yeah.
when my daughter keeps asking me to carry her, it's like this might be the last time she's gonna ask you to
Hmm.
carry her. So take advantage of it. So just constantly remembering just to enjoy the moment, soak up the
Oh,
moment.
yeah,
And that's what I just try to constantly remind myself, because we only get to know we only get to meet our son and daughter for a little time period when they're children,
yeah,
but we're
yeah,
gonna know them for a long time when they're adults. So
yeah.
these are the
That's
moments
so true.
we gotta hone in.
Oh, that is so true. So, so true. How does so the undeniable, right? Like how does that correlate with like fatherhood? Or like what have you learned from your discoveries with undeniable that has helped fueled being a father?
Health fueled being a father is just being moral, making sure
Yeah.
you stay authentic, being
Mm,
yourself, and not letting any distraction or any hurdle prevent you. Because if you really look up the definition of undeniable, it means unable to be disputed.
okay.
So if you're leading with love, you're your biggest fan. As long as you're operating with those two energies, I think at
Yeah.
the end of the day, do what you got to do. You know,
Yeah.
so so that's what's helped me, compartmentalize and put things in perspective.
Okay. You not that I don't like to use shoulds and should nots, but I can seriously see you as like a father coach. Like coach in some ways in terms of like fatherhood. I don't know. I follow these men on social media
Mhm.
and it's very much like the fatherhood and changing patterns and I can totally see you doing that too.
I
Like
appreciate you
getting
saying
better
that.
men because it's
I,
like men are like there's men looking for people. Men are looking for men like you, who grew up in just like specific type of narratives of how to be a man and how to show up for their kids, more emotionally present, like all these good stuff. And it's like people are looking for you. Like, where are you?
I appreciate you saying that. I've always wanted to, like, I love what you do. Like, you're a life coach, you help people, and I wouldn't mind venturing out and doing that as an endeavor, especially if it's like as a parent coach, as a father coach, any way I could help the
Yeah.
community, because that's what we gotta keep doing each generation. We gotta pick up the baton where mom and dad left it and run as far as we can. And then that's where our kids are going to pick up that baton and run further,
Yeah.
right? Because the name of the game is just breaking generational curses to
Yeah.
turn them into generational wealth. So what's a curse I got to break so I could turn it into wealth for my kids? And then what do they have to break that I didn't fix to make more
Mhm.
wealth for their kids? And then constantly doing that, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So hopefully being the first person in my family to create something like that so we could have a lasting legacy, make it easier for the
Oh, I'm so
generations to
sure.
come.
Yeah, I can see it, I'm so sure. So sure.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you. Yeah, maybe there's a reason why, we're collabing again, episode 33. I find that very intriguing and
Yeah.
interesting. So yeah,
Oh,
I'm gonna
yes,
be
yeah.
hitting you up a lot with that. So I'm like,
Yes,
what
yes,
father
we
group?
could
I want to join.
brainstorm. No, seriously, yeah, heck yeah. Which I was gonna ask you too because it's episode 33 and it's like a magical number, and I totally forgot to ask you at the beginning of the podcast. But why 33? Like why is it special?
So so
'Cause I
33.
love threes too.
So 33 is actually my life path number. So
Okay,
if you put every single digit of your birthday, if you add up every single digit on your birthday, it gives you your life path number. So pretty
okay,
much in numerology, you have three master numbers. You have master number 11, master number 22, and master number 33. And pretty much if your birthday doesn't add up to either 11 or 22 or 33, you add those numbers up as well, and it gives you your life path number. So
okay.
pretty much what 33 means, it means influence. So it's an influential thing. And I recently discovered that I was a life path 33, I would say 2 years ago. But
Okay.
in my life, I've always had like moments where I had like crazy moments happen to me where, I had someone, threatening to kill me for like the last 2 years of high school,
Oh my
showed me a
goodness.
gun, jumped me.
Oh my goodness.
I had another moment in life where it was just like a bad accident, like a really bad
Oh
accident
my
moment in
god.
life. And like I have moments in my life where I have random people come up to me, talk to me, share their life story with me. And like I wouldn't know why. But like I would always have like these crazy moments.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes. Yeah. So I just looked into it, and it has to do with influence and things like that. So if you tell me your birthday, I'll let you know
Oh,
your life
yeah.
path number, and then you can look into that.
3/11/94.
3/11/94. So it's March, and then 11. So 11 would be 1/1. So it'll be five, right? Three
Okay,
plus one plus one.
okay.
And then
Yeah,
1994, right? So
yeah.
five plus one is six. Six plus nine is 15. 15 plus nine is 24. And then 24 plus four is 28. So two plus eight is 10. So it's a one. So you're a life path one.
Oh,
So,
snap.
so
That
look
feels
into that. Look
special.
into that. See if you got any traits, any commonalities, and then go from there.
Oh, I will, I totally will. Okay, 1. That feels very special already. I mean, I'm
Yes, yes.
also really, 33, the number 3 pops up a lot in my life,
Oh wow.
like, a
Okay.
lot, yeah, and during COVID, it's so funny because I had, I was living at my parents' house, and there's,
Mhm.
obviously, like, windows. And I woke up and there was 3 crows on the
Oh wow.
roof of the next house, and that's never happened before,
Yeah.
it's never happened ever since, and I woke up and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, that is so crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, and that
Yeah, that's a
same
sign for sure.
yeah. Oh, yeah, and I looked it up, I looked up what crows meant because I believe in that. I believe that when an animal or insects, like, pop into your life, it means something, like, it's the universe
Hmm.
trying to show you a message or teach you something. So I
Hmm.
looked it up and it meant transformation, it meant, like, death, right? And growing up, I remember thinking or believing or just hearing that when you see crows, like, somebody's gonna die. So I looked it up and I decided not to believe in that. Like, if somebody is dying, like, it's an ego death. Like, it's not gonna be
Hmm.
somebody physically dying, right? So I looked it up, and that same day I had a therapy session, like, in the evening, and I brought it up into session, and I was like, "This is what happened, like, it's so crazy." And I went into session, and it became a session of, yes, like, life's changing, life's happening, like, there's a lot of things that I'm letting go of, And the therapy sessions that I do, like, it's not your regular talk therapy, it's somatic work. So it is a lot of trance and visualization and just going more into those, like, meditative spaces. So what popped up for me was the 3 crows popped up, and they were there to tell me, "Hey, it's time for you to let go of 3 things, like, what do you wanna let go of?"
Wow.
And it was so powerful. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think one of them was letting go of things needing to be a specific way, like, the other one was, like, letting go of, like, the future, like, the anxiety of the future, and I forgot what the
Yeah.
last one was. But then at the same time, my grandma popped up in that somatic session. It was my grandma, me, and my therapist. And it was just like a somatic session where I felt so supported by my grandma, and then it was me, and then it was my therapist, and then it was like the crows, and that felt like very universal energy. So it was so much like, okay, like I'm being supported by
That's
every other
beautiful.
way. Yeah, so ever since then, like the number 3 means so much to me. It's
That
like
is so awesome. How
anything
long
that's
ago was
3.
this?
This was maybe, like, 3 years ago? 4 years ago? Like,
And
during
3
COVID?
years ago?
Yeah,
What do you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But
So for
I
me,
like how
whenever I
you
see
said
3, it's
that.
like I'm being supported.
I like how you said that and how you weren't like when you heard death, you're like, it's not if it's any type of death, it's an ego death. And you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. And what you said, transformation, you're probably evolving into the person you were, you know? Because
Oh, yeah.
I had a homie too. He's like, bro, I had a dream that you died. And I was like, what? Well, that's because I'm not the person you used to know. You know, I'm
Oh,
different
see?
now. You
Yeah.
know, exactly how you said it. I'm like, that's the perspective we need, you know? So good
Yeah.
stuff. I love it.
It is, yeah, they're ego deaths, yeah. Oh, yeah, identity deaths, personality deaths. Oh, yeah, things that don't no longer work for us. Yeah,
Yes.
that's awesome. That is so awesome. Okay, so going back to, like, fatherhood, right? So one of the things that I also wanted to ask you is both with like the undeniable and just fatherhood, how going again with the same question of change, right?
Mhm.
How did it change you in terms of being a health enthusiast, being in the space of wellness and philosophy?
Well, it helped me change because, like I said, right, like me, like I sometimes struggle with anxiety. Like I get in my own head, you know, sometimes I might like breathe a little too heavy. And I think that that
Yeah,
just came from just like the environment, the household I was in. So just making sure that when I got older enough and then I had my own children of my own, I had to
yeah,
make sure that I had a change with that. So just by, you know, simply exercising and philosophy with the
right.
practices that philosophy gave me, it helped me
Yeah,
take an ownership. It helped me take accountability versus blaming circumstances. Yeah, I could keep blaming the environment I grew up in,
yeah.
but it's who I choose to become from that, right?
Okay.
So that and also encompassed with food, right? What am I fueling my body with? Am I eating out? Am I eating fried food that's gonna make me feel lethargic, make me
Yeah,
feel sick, slow? I'm not gonna like the way my body looks, or am I gonna fuel myself with good food, nutritious
yeah,
food, you know, spinach, berries, you know,
yeah,
and things like that. And also just having confidence in our ability versus giving our power away. So like for example,
okay.
Nadeza, like my 2 kids, right? My son
Mm,
Ezekiel. He as soon as he was born, he was breastfed. So he like attached
yeah,
on to the boob. You know, that's the best type of milk, right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And and then my daughter, on the other hand, right? She wouldn't attach. You know, she had a little tongue tie, wouldn't
Mm,
attach. So we're like, dang, what are we gonna do? Okay, I guess we'll do Infamil. Everyone does Infamil, right?
mm.
So started giving my daughter Infamil, and every night my daughter would have these torson, like these cramps, like in her stomach,
Oh,
where she couldn't digest food. It was giving her, it was giving her a rash throughout her whole body. And then
okay.
I was like reading the ingredients, and I'm just like, corn syrup,
Oh, yeah.
genetic modified ingredients. I was like,
Oh,
my daughter's like 5 years old. She's barely growing up. Like, why are we feeding her this type of stuff?
yeah.
So So I would speak to me and Mercy would speak to the pediatrician. They're like, no, this is normal, blah, blah, blah.
Of course.
We'll give you a lactose-free one alternative, and then we would try that. Same thing. And
Yeah.
then Mercy has like a really good friend that lives in another country that gave her a recipe on how to make milk. So ever
Nice.
since Sage was 6 months old, we make her milk, and we're still making her
Oh,
milk. And
wow.
she's growing, she's smart, she's in
Wow.
shape, and she's not in pain. Just
Wow.
simple ingredients that are here
Oh
at
my
our
God.
disposal versus what the doctors tell you. So just like what I say,
Wow.
our experience becomes our expertise. So just going through like these experiences and just making sure that I don't make the same mistake twice. Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm taking some notes down. Like parenting notes down.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I had another guest in my last episode and she was talking about like motherhood and stuff. And I was telling her how the desire to be a mom has been growing and it's a little scary because I've never really had the desire.
Mhm.
But I'm like taking mental notes down, like I'm learning from you guys.
That's beautiful. That's awesome that you're open to that idea. It's a little mini you. It's a privilege to be a parent. So if you
Yeah.
ever you and your partner ever come to that choice,
Yeah.
just make sure you guys are 100% prepared, mentally, physically and
Yeah.
emotionally, because you guys are gonna forget who you guys are at times, especially if you're a
Yeah.
good parent, because you're gonna be with the kids all day if you really care. So
Yeah.
those are the things to always
I could
make sure,
imagine.
remember who you are, get dates,
Yeah.
get a support system. Hey, if I'm gonna have this baby, moms, you gonna help me take care of the baby. You
That's
keep
true.
saying you want to be a grandma, you gotta put
Oh,
in work
yeah.
too. I gotta keep my sanity, you know what I'm saying?
That's just like, "You wanna be a grandma? Here you go. You've been asking for
So
years."
those are the things they don't teach you about before having a kid. So that's
Yeah.
what Mercy and I are literally building the plane as we fly. So
Oh
if
my
I could
god,
give
you
any
guys
advice,
are
it's that.
like oh, man. It's crazy because 'cause we've been reading, like, this book I forgot what it's called. It's, like, right there, but I can't see the title.
Hmm.
But it's, like, this book of relationships, and it's by the Gottmans. I don't know if
Okay.
you've heard of them. And they were sharing how, um parents or when if so there the chapter that we're on is like a love map, and it
Hmm.
talks about, like, do you know each other's love map? Like, do you guys actually know each other? Do you know,
Mm.
like, their worries right now? Do you know, like, their dreams, their aspirations, like, all these things, right? And they were saying how the couples who don't know each other's love map before they have a kid are more likely to get divorced when they have their first baby or separate when they have their first baby because it is a lot when you have your first kid. A lot of emotions, like you do pour into like your child a lot, like all these things happening where like they just lose themselves. Like they never even knew each other to begin with. So they were saying how there's been studies that show that when you know each other's love map very well from the start, when you guys have a kid or a baby, your first baby together, you're more likely to stay together. And it's
Wow.
it's it's really cool and I think I was surprised how much we actually knew each other. In
That's
a way,
very
right? Like
interesting.
yes and no, but
Yeah.
it was
That
nice to go through like the questions and be like, "Oh yeah, like we know each other really well."
that's perfect. So that's compatibility. I can't say it. Compatibility.
Compatibility, yeah.
Compatibility. You kind of remind me of the book Love Language. Like what's your love language,
Oh
I
yeah.
believe. So
Yeah.
and that makes complete sense because I seen this post the other day, and there are like two people reenacting it where the dude's working from home, right? He's just in his
Uh-huh.
desk working, and then his wife comes in through the door, right? And he has like a t-shirt on the floor. She comes through the door, and then she's just like, "Oh, I've had a long day. Oh, why is the room a mess?" And then the
Mm.
dude, the dude's like overstimulated because he's working, and he's like, "What do you mean? It's only one t-shirt." And then they just argue. And then
Um,
after a second, he's like, "Wait, oh, it's because you had a long, stressful day at work. And then when you come home, you need a clean house because that calms you down."
uh, okay.
But the way that you responded to me, it made me get defensive because I felt like it was clean enough, right? So it kind of
Yeah.
like goes hand in hand with what you're telling, like a love language, the love map, right?
Yeah.
What's your tendencies? How do you show me more love? Is it by food? Is it by affection? Is it by,
Yes.
cleaning, right?
Yeah. And that's so important to know as well.
Very
So
important.
important.
Very important.
Yeah.
Like my wifey's love language is words. Like I gotta tell her, I love you, baby. You're beautiful. That's her
Oh,
love language. And
sweet.
and she always has to ask me, like, babe, do you love me? And then
Yeah.
in the past I'd be like, what do you mean? We live together. We got kids. And then I'd be like, wait, that's her love language. I just gotta reassure her.
That is
Yes,
so
babe,
funny.
I love you. And still to this day, sometimes I'm slipping. I'm like, oh shit, that's right. I gotta say yes, I do. A lot, you know?
That is so awesome.
So-
That is so awesome. I mean, like, our partner and I just moved in together, and same thing. It's like, "Do you love me?" And he's like, "Are you serious? Like, we're here. Like, are you sure you wanna be with me?" And he's like,
What
"Did
do
you
you
just"
mean? That's so
Yeah, but it's so
hilarious.
sweet because it's like, it's nice when like, I think when we're in those moments of, like, stresses and fear or whatever, like, it's a little harder to show each other as, like, our love language. But it's like, oh, like, when we're present or when we work through or can put that to the side, it's like it's very easy to give it, and it feels nice, right? Like, "Oh, yeah, that's right, you need this. Like, this is your love language. It's not mine, it's yours, and I'm gonna give it."
Yeah, and then right, and the thing that holds us back with that is our pride, right? Where it's like, I don't want
Yeah.
to give into that right now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I, and I gotta remind myself, it's like, bro, don't listen to that little pride. Like it's wifey. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Yes. And oh my god, and even that, right? Like, the product of, like, growing up. I went
mhm,
to Canada in when was it? October? And it popped up, right? Because I was like, "Oh, why do I have this wall?" Right? Like, I've been working on this wall, for the last year or so, and it popped up again in Canada, and it was like, "Okay, well, what's going on?" It's like, here's this person, like, he's obviously he loves me, like, he's saying this, he's showing me, but why do I still have this pride? And I took it to, like, a
mm,
session, and what popped up was my mom's voice, and my mom's voice was this of don't show your weakness or love to men because they're gonna use it against you. Like, don't show men that you love them. And it's like, whoa, like, I didn't even fucking know that that was, like, a running
yeah,
narrative in the back of my mind and that was part of my
wow,
wall. So it's okay, how can I let go of it so it doesn't become a thing? And
yeah,
then it was, like, those moments of reflecting on how my mom shows love, and it's like, "Oh, I don't wanna be like that." Like, I love my mom, she's come a long way in her own growth, and she's, like, a wonderful woman and mom and wife too, but at the same time, it was like, oh, there's certain aspects of their relationship and their marriage where it's not healthy, and I don't want it to be the story of mine. But that shit takes
yeah.
work, like, to
It
let go
does.
of pride, right? To let go of your wall is like, fuck, like, it feels like you're naked. Or for me, it's felt like I'm naked, and
It's
it's like,
foreign. Yeah, it's
okay.
foreign. It's something we're not used to, right? And then I'd be hearing too, like it's not us making those choices, it's the patterns, right? Like you said,
Yeah,
it's the wall we
yeah,
got. But I'm happy to hear that you were able to discover that. You're able to reflect on it and hear your mama's voice. So you
yeah,
subconsciously you would probably like hear your mom talking like that and you would absorb it without
yeah,
even knowing it. So
yeah,
that
and,
yeah, that just
like, it's crazy, like, side little story too, like, I had texted my best friend about it, and we've been friends since we were, like, 4th, 5th grade, and she brought up a memory where she was like, "Narita, remember?" She was like, "I came over, I think junior high or high school, and we were just in the kitchen grabbing chips, and your mom was telling us, like, 'Fuck men,' like, 'No crean a los
oh
hombres.'" And I was like,
yeah.
"Oh my god," like, even when we weren't asking for it, like, she wanted to make
Wow.
sure we knew.
Did you remember that moment or did
I
you
didn't know.
wow, even when
No.
your friend brought it up, you're like, I still wow.
Yeah, so it's
So that's how
crazy
blacked
that
out. That's how blacked out it was
yeah,
or how common.
yeah,
Very
exactly.
interesting.
Yeah, so it's like these narrative programming, and it's funny because 'cause I'm reading this book, like, Manifest, and it's
Hmm.
talking about that, like, it's talking about, like, your negative thoughts and being aware of them, and it's like, oh, yeah, like, these negative thoughts that we have block us from the manifestations or the lives that we wanna live.
That part. That part,
Yeah.
yes. There's a reason why they spray the air, they spray the fruits, you know what I'm
Oh, yeah.
saying?
The fluoride in the
Keep
water.
what's distorted. The fluoride in the
Yeah.
toothpaste, the water. Yeah. Yeah, a lot
Yeah,
of
and
things.
do you know much about, like, because I keep hearing too, like, the phone and the electric what is it,
Oh
like, the
yeah.
electric I don't even know what it's
Yeah,
called, the
the
waves
like
around
the
the phone?
radiation and the EMG or whatever it's called. I know what you're talking
Mhm.
about.
Yeah. Do you know much about that?
I just hear like the 5G towers, right? Like it has a
Okay.
lot of radiation, and then like I've seen
Yeah,
videos too where like your cell phone has like a lot of radiation, unless you like
yeah,
go like on airplane mode. So just too
yeah.
many things, right?
There is, and it's like, it makes a lot of sense sometimes with, like, stuff that's going on.
Yeah, yeah. Like I like think about it like this too, like telepathy, right?
Oh,
Like I'd be
yeah.
thinking like back in the day we used to be telepathic because I'd be
Yeah,
doing like little tests sometimes, like when I'm driving in my car, right? I'll see like a random person walking on the
yeah.
sidewalk and I'll just be staring at them, right? I got
Uh-huh.
tinted windows, right? They don't know
They
I'm
look
looking at them, but they feel it and then they turn around and they look
oh,
at me right in the eyes without knowing they're looking at me in the eyes. So then
oh, shoot.
I'm like, why is that? Because sometimes when I feel like someone's watching me as well, I turn too and I
Yeah.
catch people.
Oh,
Why?
yeah.
You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
got to be connected, right?
Oh, I'm so sure. It feels like it's, like, the energy, right? Like, the I can't even say it, telepathic communication.
Yeah.
We were there at some point, and, like, going back to
Hmm.
the start of the podcast, right? It's like we were like, even the running and the all that stuff, it's like we were so connected in so many ways before, even
Yes,
to
I
each
believe
other.
so.
Even to each other.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're conscious beings. We're conscious, and I be hearing too, like we're all each other, so
Yeah. We're all
different
mirrors of
versions
each
of
other.
ourselves. We're all mirrors of each other. Yeah. It's a good way to put it. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, thank you so much for being here. Let me look at my notebook one more time if I have any other questions, because I did look through your social media and I listened to your podcast. So I know even with your Instagram too, like I wrote down the philosophers that you have on there. I even put like Kanye West you have on there.
Yes, that's my guy. That's my
You
favorite
had
person.
George, you had James Allen, Frederick Nietzsche, I believe that's Nietzsche?
Nietzsche.
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 I know you
Yeah.
had like some Charles Bukowski?
Oh, Bukowski.
Bukowski? Yeah, I have
Yeah.
one of his books. Yeah. So we touched on that. I know we touched on fatherhood. So we touched on a lot of really good stuff. Yeah.
It was a great conversation. I'm excited for the next one, and like I said, I'm
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a visual podcast, so I'm gonna have you on with that. So we got to talk.
Yes, let me know. I would love to have you again, and maybe we can talk and go into perception
Yes.
and maybe perspectives.
Yeah, yeah, I would love to. Like, just on a side note, like, so undeniable perception, right? Like, I do it with my older brother. He's
Okay.
Generation X. He was born in 1979. I'm a millennial, born in
It's different.
1989. So we have different perceptions. He has different
Yeah.
values. He sees things differently. I see things differently, but we grew up in the same household. So we
Okay.
come together to have those type of conversations. Like, is it a generational difference? Like, what's going on with
Mm,
that?
okay.
And here and there, we
That's
show
awesome.
vulnerability. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. No, that is awesome because it's true. It's like people assume or think that because you lived in the same household, it's the same experience, and it's not. It really isn't.
It is. It really isn't, right? You get different versions of your parents. Maybe you're
Yeah.
different. You know what I'm saying? I'm a better parent now than I was 2 years ago. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So
So,
imagine like 10, 20 years.
right? Imagine
Yeah.
that. So it's wild. So thanks
Yeah.
again. It was amazing.
Yeah, of course. So where can people find you? Where can they find your podcast?
Yes. So people could find my podcast on anywhere where podcasts are available on Apple, Spotify, Google. It
Oh,
is Undeniable Perception, but it is spelled with EYE. So UndenEYEable Perception. And Undeniable is my handle as well for Instagram. If you guys want to find me there.
sweet. I'll make sure that I put it also in the footnotes
Thank
somewhere
you
around
so much.
there.
For sure.
Yeah, and before we leave too, I want to ask you a question. So I'm going to start asking my guests questions like at the end, and we'll see where it goes. Okay? So
Okay.
just a random question.
Okay.
Okay. So I have two actually. So we'll see where this goes. Well, actually, before I ask you the questions, is there anything that you would love to share before we close out?
Anything I would like to share? I would say, like I said, lead with love, and what I mean by lead with love is leading yourself with love. Because if you're not loving yourself, how are you going to love other people? And also another thing is be your biggest fan, be your biggest
Mhm.
support system, because there's other people watching you and they might not tell you, you might be inspiring them. So whenever you're doing things, you're going to give people permission to do the same. So continue to be your biggest fan and lead with love.
Oh, I feel like you literally just answered the question I was gonna ask. The
Oh
other one.
no.
Because I was gonna ask, if you knew today was your last day on Earth, what would your teachings to the world be?
Wow, my teachings to the world be is appreciate life, appreciate the last breath, appreciate the steps you take, appreciate the food you eat, appreciate that you're able to speak.
Mhm.
Just appreciate, be grateful, be grateful. I would say that would be my word to give
Yeah.
people.
Oh, how awesome. Thank you so much, Renato.
Thank you, Nereida. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. We're totally gonna have to collab again.
Absolutely, absolutely. Looking forward, and thank you for giving me that thought about parent coaching.
Yes.
I might step into a new endeavor because of that. So I really appreciate you,
Yeah.
telling me something
Definitely
like
look
that.
into it. You'd be so great at it. So
And I
great at it.
appreciate this platform. What you're doing is amazing. Interviewing
Yeah.
people, and getting their best practices, and you sharing your journey along the way. You're an
Mm.
enrichment to the community and to the people. Keep doing
Oh.
your thing, Nereda. I'm a big fan.
Oh, thank you so much. I
Of
appreciate
course.
you. Thank
You
you,
too.
thank you, thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, much, much love, guys. Don't forget to follow the podcast, his and mine.
Absolutely. Take it easy. Thank you.
Bye.